Welcome back to the Hood News Fantasy Football Podcast. This is episode 34, waiver pickups for week 8. I'm your host, Keen. I got my boys, MFB,
Bah.
and BBTB.
Chop, I got it, y'all.
What, bro?
We started like that, bro. Roll the vid, bro.
I spent 5 minutes trying to talk him out of doing anything like that. This guy was going to introduce the episode.
Yo.
All you guys listening. All
I
right?
should have, bro. Y'all would have had a fire intro.
No.
Just letting you know.
No. Anyways, let's start with the QBs. At the top, Russell Wilson, rostered in 8% of leagues. He did well against the Jets defense and looked solid. He had a rush touchdown, so that was good. That helped his value, but only rostered in 8% of leagues, a good pickup if you need a streamer or if you need a backup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like Russell Wilson is going to be solid going forward. If you listen to our previous episode, I was talking about if you're a Jaden Daniels owner, I think you go stash Russell Wilson. Or just if you have like a running kind of quarterback, go get Russell Wilson. I feel like he'll still be solid.
Yeah, he plays Giants next week. Then he has a bye. Then he plays Washington, Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati. The matchups aren't bad.
Yeah.
Next on the list, Tua, 46% of leagues, aiming for a week 8 return. We shall see. They already had their bye, so if he comes back and he stays healthy, he can be a solid QB going forward. I know Tyreek Hill is dying for a decent QB.
Brother, fantasy Dolphins owners are dying, bro.
We're all dying, bro. I think against the Cardinals right now, it should be like a decent matchup for them. So it's definitely like a decent week for Tua to come back and make a return.
Yeah.
And if he's still technically not active and he's still on IR, you can add him to your IR spot in fantasy if he's not considered healthy. So you probably don't even need to drop anyone for him. And it can be a very solid stash.
Yeah.
Last on the list, I put Jameis Winston. I was going to put Dorian Thompson-Robinson from the Browns because Deshaun Watson's out for the season. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson did not look that good. He did injure his finger. Apparently he's going to be okay. He had 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Jameis Winston came in when he hurt his finger and got a touchdown. So Jameis Winston is more of a stash. I don't think you can roll him out because I think they're rolling with DTR in that offense. But I think he's a solid stash.
I personally just would not pick that homie up. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Browns. I know Chemo's definitely not a fan of the Browns, but
he's rostered in 1% of leagues. I mean, look, this is like a backup, like just option. In the event that they just say, hey, you know what? Let's just unleash Jameis Winston. The fans want it. The fantasy football managers want it. It'll definitely boost all the players on the Browns. I mean, what's left of them, there's no Amari Cooper there, but it'll definitely help Njoku. So I think it'll also help Chubb's productions. If the ball can move through the air, Chubb can get going on the floor. So
yeah.
Anyways, he's more of like a stash. I don't know if I would spend a waiver pick on him.
Would not.
But maybe
definitely not a waiver pick.
Do not.
There's a lot better streamers this week.
Yeah.
Than Jimmy's, but he could be like a stash, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Next on the list, we're just gonna get into wide receivers. That's it for QBs. Did you guys want to bring up anyone else? You want to talk about Spencer?
Honestly, no. I honestly maybe Justin Herbert if you need a stream. I don't know. Saints look pretty dog. Justin Herbert trying to score some tutties. So Justin Herbert could be a possible stream. Maybe even a stash. Oh, I'd stash him over Jameis Winston.
I would stash Jameis Winston. Justin Herbert, I don't think has had a top 12 QB finish all year.
I know, but they're playing the Saints, brother.
He hasn't.
It's the Saints. He could be solid against the Saints. I'm just letting you know.
I could see that. I think
this is all very hypothetical, brother.
Yeah.
Another QB, if I had to bring one up, probably be Stafford, man. Like, I feel like with Kupp back, he just has to make something happen, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is against a good defense, so maybe not.
Minnesota defense, yeah.
I don't know, man. But with Kupp back, like, it's for sure, like, he'll do better.
Yeah.
He for sure gets a boost. I mean, he had Kupp week 1 He had 15 fantasy points, threw for 317 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. That was against a good Detroit defense, though. So that's it for QBs. On to the wide receivers. There's a lot of them. Juwan Jennings at the top, rostered in 30% of leagues, especially if Debo misses time with his pneumonia or whatever he's dealing with. Ayuk out for the season with a torn ACL. I think they confirmed it today. So Juwan Jennings is definitely going to take a step forward in that offense and plug that hole. Kittle is also dealing with an ankle injury. So if no Kittle, no Ayuk, and no Debo, there's no one else to throw the ball to. So he's at the top of the list. Romeo Doubs next on the list, rostered in 44% of leagues. He should have been picked up last week. We did talk about him last week, and we didn't pick him up.
I literally called him out for having a breakout game and sitting Watson, and so Romeo Doubs.
They play Jacksonville next week, which is one of the best matchups for wide receivers, and then they play Detroit, also a good matchup for wide receivers. Pick up Romeo Doubs if he's still available in your leagues. Next on the list, we have Keon Coleman of the Bills, the rookie, who kind of seemed to be the prime benefactor of Amari Cooper showing up over in Buffalo.
So that's something I'm going to debunk right now, actually.
Let's debunk it.
Keon Coleman had, 4 catches, right?
Yeah.
He had 7 targets, 4 catches, 125 yards.
Amari Cooper was not on the field for any of those catches.
Wow.
Okay. Wow.
Flip it and ship it. Yeah. All right. Literally nothing to do with Amari Cooper.
Okay.
I mean, credit to him. He still got the 4 catches and did well.
Yeah.
But, it's not like this whole Amari Cooper thing that people are trying to make it out to be.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. I mean, that's good information to know, but I do still think he's worth an ad for that performance.
100%.
Especially because he is a rookie. He does have the ability to go out there and make the catches, make the big plays, and he's only rostered 33% of leagues. So definitely still worth an ad. Amari Cooper is irrelevant. Next on the list, I put Jerry Jeudy in there, rostered in 48% of leagues. If Jameis Winston is the QB.
No.
Yes.
I'm not.
I'm fine with this ad. Just because he's the receiver that ran the most routes on the team. Right? And I think second most was Cedric Tillman, I think his name is, right?
Hey, next on the list for pickups.
Yeah, so them two they ran the most routes. But Jeudy ran more. So if there's anybody who's going to be catching the ball besides Njoku, it's going to be them.
The number one matchup for wide receivers in fantasy right now is Baltimore, probably because of that game that just happened against the Bucks.
Really, I'm surprised it's not Jacksonville.
Jacksonville's now second. They had to do with the Bucks game, I still think Jacksonville's number one. But according to the points and the metrics, it's showing Baltimore's the top. So it's still a good matchup for wide receivers. If Jameis Winston's the QB, these guys are worth an ad. If Jameis Winston's not the starting quarterback, you can kind of ignore anyone on the Browns besides Njoku. So Jerry Jeudy rostered 48% of leagues. If he's not on waivers, or if he's already on someone's team, then Cedric Tillman, he had 12 targets, 8 receptions, 81 yards, and a 2-point conversion. I mean, he caught something in the end zone. So that's just something to note if Winston's the quarterback. So maybe worth just a pickup, not a waiver claim. Dontavian Wicks, rostered in 27% of leagues. I put a question mark next to him. I don't know what you guys think about him.
I don't know, man. I feel like he just had that one crazy game. Everyone was hyping him up, and then whatever. So I don't know. I'd target the other receivers.
I think he'll have his weeks. If I could have 2 Green Bay receivers, it would be Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs.
Same.
And that's mainly because of running routes on dropbacks, target share, etc. I also wouldn't be mad at Tucker Craft shares, right? I think Watson and Wicks is just it's too inconsistent. They'll have weeks. I just don't know when those weeks will be.
Yeah. we talked about it about Jordan Love spreading the love, and so some weeks players are going to eat and others won't, and so you'll see those down weeks for Jaden Reed, which we saw he was in our duds list, and then you'll see the boom weeks where he's in the studs list. He had a couple
Mm-hmm.
of stud appearances in a couple weeks this year, so that's kind of like the risk with these Green Bay receivers. You can maybe, if you have like a desperation play, you just play one of these guys and hope for the best. But I don't think you can really depend on them for consistent production.
No.
Next on the list, Jalen McMillan, one of the receivers over in the Bucks, because they lost Godwin, maybe out for the season. We'll confirm, or we'll see the reports tomorrow. And Mike Evans with a hamstring injury. Him and Sterling Shepard rostered in 2% of leagues, and Sterling Shepard's not rostered at all. Could be worth an ad just because Baker Mayfield's been playing great, and he needs to throw the ball to somebody. So, I mean, targets will they have to go to somebody. So the targets will be spread, whether it's with McMillan, Sterling Shepard. These guys are more of an ad and wait. I wouldn't start these guys next week.
Personally, I would try to pick up Jalen McMillan and Sterling Shepard over Judy and Cedric Tillman. Like that'd be the order. Just because the way Baker's been playing. And I feel like honestly, you could even roll out maybe Sterling Shepard as a deep flex next week. So I don't know.
I mean, without the two top receivers in that offense, but the thing is, we don't know who really will eat in that offense. And we kind of want to see who's got more just connection with Baker Mayfield. I would prefer to stash these guys.
Yeah.
But if Godwin is indeed out for the season, one of these guys might actually end up being a good ad.
Mm-hmm.
Last on the list, Rashad Bateman, rostered in 7% of leagues, had a very nice game. He only had 4 targets, 4 catches, but he caught a touchdown, a lot of yards. We talked about him in the previous episode for the studs. Definitely worth an ad, man. Lamar Jackson's been playing really great, and when they need to throw the ball, he's been able to find Rashad Bateman. Yeah, sorry. So
yeah. And I feel like Zay Flowers was hurt, but he did get back into the game. But I feel like Rashad Bateman he's just like the long ball deep threat. And so I feel like he's a great pickup and stash. Maybe even flex worthy. So
I mean, especially if Zay misses time, right?
yeah.
If he
Definitely.
misses time, then he's definitely worth an ad. That's it for receivers. Who's at the top? Give us you guys' top 3 for these 3 out of these like 10 people we just named, or however many people we just named.
Out of these, I'd for sure roll for Dobbs.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if he's still available in your league, but for sure him. Definitely one of the Bucks guys, and I kind of want to say Sterling Shepard. I don't trust the rookie yet, but I do like the rookie. But just can't trust him yet. And then probably Jawan Jennings. We've seen what he did before. We'll see if he steps up again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a similar kind of order. I have Romeo Dobbs. I have like Sterling Shepard and Rashad Bateman in the middle, like in between. So if you can get one or the other, and then my like 3rd/4th would be Jawan Jennings.
Yeah. I go Dobbs number 1. I put Jawan Jennings number 2. And then number 3, if you can get him, number 3. It's hard for me. It's hard to like pick between those 2 guys. I'm going to go Keon Coleman.
Oh, wow. So,
that's it for wide receivers. Let's move into the running backs. Just a few here. We had a lot of good running back performances this week. A lot of them already rostered. So I put Jalen Warren in here, rostered in 41% of leagues, had a good number of carries. Najee had the late touchdown. They went for on 4th and 2.
bro,
It was just completely unnecessary. They were already, the game was
that
already
was
over.
that was
This was kind of like,
disrespectful.
it was
That
a
was
disrespectful play.
disrespectful.
Yeah, Najee Harris got that touchdown garbage time, but Warren looked good and he got a lot of carries. I don't know the percentage share. I don't know if our numbers guy MFB has that answer.
I didn't look exactly. Sorry.
It's all good. Not Najee Harris. I mean, Jalen Warren had 12 carries. Najee Harris had 21 carries. So it's like what 60% to like 65% to
Yeah, about
35%.
60%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Warren isn't get he's
But
getting involved in that
Jalen's the
offense.
guy there that sees more of the receiving work.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
He sees the
if anything,
targets.
yeah, if anything happens to Najee Harris, he misses any time, Warren would be the number one plug and play
Yeah.
RB3. Another one's had in here, Damian Pierce, rostered in 7% of leagues, just in case something happens to Mixon. We saw him miss 3 weeks, in which Pierce was also out those 3 weeks with his own injury. But if Mixon goes down, Damian Pierce is the number one right behind him, and he will get a ton of production.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the stash. If you're a Mixon owner, please pick him up just in case. Good insurance to have. Any other RBs?
No, I'd probably say like a stash would could possibly be Emmanuel Wilson from the Packers. Stash him with Josh Jacobs. Or honestly, next week they'll play the Jags. You never know. If they start blowing them out, Emmanuel Wilson starts getting in there. So
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, a lot of it's just a lot of handcuffs right now.
Yeah.
Not anybody you could really trust. A guy we mentioned last week, Kamani Vidal. I think he should definitely be picked up as a really high value stash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
Rostered in 16% of leagues, and then Emmanuel Wilson rostered only in 8% of leagues, but would be a very hot waiver wire ad if those players were to get injured. J.K. Dobbins and
Josh Jacobs,
respectively. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for running backs. On to the tight ends. At the top, Hunter Henry, which we've talked about before. We mentioned him specifically because Drake May's the quarterback, 31% of leagues.
Mm-hmm.
We did mention him. Yes, we said Hunter Henry, look for him out there. I would start him. We said we would pretty much start him over everyone else in terms of like waivers. Like
seriously. I had him as the number one waiver pickup for tight ends, like starting over a lot of people.
Yeah, we talked about him. He had a good first game with Drake May, and then he had a good second game, and he looks to be the one who's producing the most with Drake May at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So 9 targets, 8 receptions, 92 yards last week. If he's not rostered, he should be. Even as a stash, if you have a good tight end, just stash him. You could trade him. Next on the list, Zach Ertz, rostered in 30% of leagues. Interesting for Zach Ertz, we had Marcus Mariota in that game because Jaden Daniels got hurt. So I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if Jaden Daniels misses time, is Zach Ertz still worth an ad or a stash or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
okay.
Still been seeing a decent volume.
That was against Carolina. Got a touchdown, right? Four receptions on 5 targets for 40 yards.
Yeah,
against a terrible Carolina defense. They play Chicago next week.
Oh yeah, I feel like he should be still like decent just to keep in the like as a bench player
on the bench. Okay, I mean tight ends they're picking it up, man. We talked a lot of crap on tight ends. They've been picking it up. All we had to do was just make fun of them for 5-6 weeks, and then they all picked it up. Noah Fant next on the list. We talked about him last week as a pickup. Roster in 30% of leagues. He had 4 targets, 4 receptions, 65 yards. He plays Buffalo next week, which is not a very good matchup. Then he plays the Rams, which is better. It's decent. I mean, it's decent work. It's all you expect out of a tight end. I put John Smith on here. Are you guys adding John Smith? And he's rostered 4% of leagues. He did good because no one else was targeted pretty much in that game. Tua might come back next week.
Not doing that. That was a weird anomaly game.
Yeah.
Predicting that.
All right.
But I was going to say just real quick on Noah Fant. I feel like if DK Metcalf is out, because I know he's saying week to week, Noah Fant is probably a great add at the tight end position. I know they play Buffalo, but Geno Smith has been moving the ball down the field very, very well, getting the ball to his guys, and I feel like Noah Fant can do some damage.
I'm gonna say something. I don't think Noah Fant benefits if DK misses time. I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like that's like the
Probably
logical
not too
thing.
much.
That's the logical thing, right? One person that's taking a lot of targets goes away. Targets have to go somewhere. I don't think they go to Noah Fant.
Yeah, but it goes to like a different receiver, not really a
Yeah.
tight end. Like
Yeah. So in my
I would
opinion,
say.
I wouldn't
I mean,
expect
there
a
might be a
lot.
small uptick, but
Maybe.
nothing major,
Yeah, I wouldn't go scrambling for Noah Fant if we find out
right? Like it would go to
DK's
like
not playing.
Tyler Lockett or whoever fills in
JSN.
on the outside for DK.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't DK injured early though? Like in the game, like second quarter?
No, I think it was the end of the game.
It was
Oh,
near the
really?
end, if I remember.
Okay.
He did get
Yeah.
carted off, but
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
For these guys, I mean, it's just Hunter Henry, Zach Ertz, Noah Fant. We're ignoring Johnny Smith. That's about it.
Mhm.
They're probably in that order as well that you pick them up. They're all rostered in about 30% of leagues. So 1 in 3 leagues they're available. Or sorry, 2 out of 3 leagues they're available.
Mhm.
That's it for tight ends. Do you guys have anything else on them?
Yeah.
Juwan Johnson, you
No.
want to talk about him?
Oh, never. Sorry about Juwan Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. That man will never be brought up in my mouth ever again. So sorry.
Pause. Yeah, that was a. Would you like to formally apologize? Can you look into the camera and apologize to everybody who you told to start?
I'm not going to apologize, but I'm saying my fault.
Come on,
I'm
just
never
for the
talking
fans,
about that,
bro, for
homie.
the fans, everyone that's watching,
No.
bro. There's people watching.
Hey, bro, everyone gets some bad takes sometimes. I'm not going to apologize, but just don't. Juwan Johnson never coming back.
Onto the defenses. Detroit plays the Titans. They're rostered 20% right now because they played the Vikings.
That should be a money matchup.
That is
sure.
a great matchup. Even though they're starting, who's the other guy?
Mason Rudolph, but bro,
Mason
he didn't
Rudolph,
look
but
any better than Will Levis.
He did
to be
not.
honest.
Yeah, that was
Not even
you can
close.
pick up Detroit defense
Lions
and start
should
them.
be a very good play.
Yep.
Green Bay defense against the Jaguars. They're rostered in 47% of leagues, so harder to get, but also still available. Sorry. Houston versus the Colts. Anthony Richardson looks awful. He can't move the ball. If Jonathan Taylor comes back, do you still play the Houston defense?
Yes.
Okay.
But not confidently, but I'd still play them if you need a defense.
Yeah, that might be some team to pick up. Chargers versus Saints. Chargers are rostered in 48% of leagues.
But hit the over on the Chargers defense, bro. Hit the over on that, bro.
Yeah. Chargers defense looks really good. The fact that they're still available, they played Arizona this week. Yeah, I mean, basically half of leagues are available. Pick them up. Detroit's number 1 for sure. How do you guys categorize the next 3? Green Bay, Houston, Chargers. Who do you go for?
So I'd go Detroit 1, obviously. I'd go Chargers at the 2, Houston at the 3, and Green Bay at the 4. Just because, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say just because Jags, they do know how to push the ball down the field offensively. Obviously, defensively, they're trash. But offensively, they could push the ball down the field, so Green Bay could get some points taken away if they don't get those turnovers. So that's why I'm a little hesitant on the Green Bay.
I think
I'm
it's
not
a smash
sure.
play.
I got Detroit 1, Green Bay 2 probably, and then Chargers.
I have Detroit, Chargers, Green Bay.
Yeah, or I'd have that order, but that's yeah.
Houston's last.
I'm confident in Green Bay.
Yeah, I think
I mean,
puts in work.
But at least the top 2, Detroit Chargers, those 2 must adds.
Yeah,
so,
but if you get Green Bay, I mean, it's still a good play.
Yeah.
For kickers, Dicker the kicker. Called him out last week. Call him out again this week.
Yeah.
Pick him up. Will Lutz against Carolina. The Panthers suck. The Broncos should run all over them.
Yeah.
Will Lutz should get some kicks. He had 18 fantasy points, depending on your format and scoring. So he did pretty solid. I want to add in Jake Bates from Detroit. If they completely demolish the Titans, then he should be having a solid kicking day. If he's available, he's probably already been picked up. He had a good week. Not this last week, the week before. So if he's out there, I mean, if you need a kicker, he should be a good one. That's about it. Any other names you guys want to bring up? Any other sneak ads? Players that are coming back from a bye?
Nothing.
No. All right.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet's roster pretty highly. Never mind. But he had a good week before the bye. So that'll do it for this episode. And we'll see you guys on the next episode when we talk matchups. Peace.
Peace.